Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and I just got back from the new film, You're Next. It is about a family who's gathered together, this married couple who's been married for 35 years, it's their 35th wedding anniversary, and all their 4 kids and their kids' significant others are coming together for a nice family meal, until suddenly an arrow shoots through, killing their daughter's boyfriend, and people start attacking them, and they're slowly killed off one by one, as this family tries to survive from being slaughtered by these assailants wearing animal masks who are slowly killing them off. Your Next has been met with a lot of acclaim, and it's been hyped up for quite a long time, so I think there is a general pessimism when it comes to the film. A lot of people have said the hype has actually hurt it more than helped it, because a lot of people have gone into screenings having way too much hype regarding it, and so it's kind of got a negative buzz to it. And I'm like, I'll let the movie speak for itself. As a simple genre exercise, I liked it, but as a normal everyday horror movie, it is still good. It's better than a lot of them because it's so genre, it's so simple. That's also kind of the problem with it. It's just so simple and so much like one of those like Halloween ripoffs from the late 70s, early 80s. It has a sense of humor about itself, but I didn't really notice that as much. I noticed that with Joe Swanberg's character of Drake. Other than that, the acting was very poor. Like an average student film level of acting that I kind of expected more, even from a horror movie like this. And the scares weren't really that great, and there's sometimes that it just seemed a little laughable, especially when the daughter runs through the door. You'll see what I'm talking about when it happens. And the whole audience was laughing, and there are certain parts where I feel like the whole audience is with it, but it wasn't really very scary. I kind of respect it because, unlike something like The Purge, which uses kind of a John Carpenter idea, it's very economical, very simple. In the second to third act, it falls to pieces, trying to do things that it really shouldn't do, and ignoring characters that they could really do something with. And Your Next doesn't do that at all. Your Next is simple and distinct and clear, and really stays on this kind of genre idea. And I like that about it quite a bit. I actually think, in terms of construction, it is a very strong horror movie. But in terms of likability and watchability and me actually having a good time during it, it's a lot weaker because it's not doing anything that different. I mean, sure, it has some funny moments, but it's not doing anything with the concept. What's really separating this from all of those Halloween ripoffs that happened after Halloween happened? Not much. I mean, supposedly this is influenced by The Strangers and Scream. It doesn't really come out in such a way that Scream was distinctive and was really saying something at the time about horror. Your Next, sure, I mean, I guess the whole idea is that Hollywood horror, I guess, is crappy and, like, isn't having fun with itself and isn't getting back to these core basics. But this film by Adam Wingard, who did stuff like that with VHS, but that's not really on display here. Certainly they're not thinking of the recent works of James Wan with The Conjuring, who did kind of more simple, distinct, actually kind of fun, scary movies. And I know they held this back for a while to get the right release date. It almost feels like, you know, sometimes horror films are made for a specific era, and I feel like Your Next may have missed that window, but also, like, isn't good enough to really sound the alarm on let's have more indie horror. It's just, like, not that great. I did like how your acting ability kind of reflected how long you'd stick around, because, like, Joe Swanberg stuck around for a while, but other actors in the film who weren't as good get killed off pretty quickly. It even has a heroine played by, I think her name's Shammy Vincent, who I liked quite a bit. I thought she's a good kind of Laurie Strode replacement, or kind of like a Linda Hamilton / Laurie Strode, I guess. It's just, like, so basic horror, and I think the thing when I watch all these, like, Halloween ripoffs, and there was one for every holiday, and there's so many, it's just that it would have a different feel to it. It would have a fun to it. You know, Friday the 13th is the most famous Halloween ripoff. And I think Friday the 13th became such a big franchise because it had fun with it, because there was something for the audience to get into. But this is almost like too basic, too bare bones. It's more basic than Hollywood stuff. And in a way, like, structurally, yeah, it does make a lot of the Hollywood horror look completely stupid. I like it for its genre exercise, and I liked it more than The Purge. I think it's probably something, if you're a Carpenter fan and you're a fan of that era, that slasher era, you probably like a bit of this. You'd be surprised how much you like it. But I think like some of the reviews I'm reading, I think they're giving way too much credit to it. It's a good genre exercise, but it's kind of like is an experiment or is a classroom assignment interesting? Does that make good art? In this case, I don't really think it does necessarily, but I think it does hold up better than a lot of horror. I'm calling it a genre exercise, and I'm not talking about how Adam Wingard had fun. I feel like he had more fun doing his VHS stuff than he did with this. Just a job that any of those guys from the late 70s, early 80s would have done when they were ripping off Halloween. And it's like, okay, you did that, so what? Friday the 13th, the reason that excelled through a simple premise is it had fun with it. There's a fun to it. There's a level of playfulness. And Your Next doesn't have any of that. It doesn't push the genre exercise to show why genre filmmakers who became great. They didn't become these great genre names just because they did a genre exercise and they stick so closely to it. You know, they did something with that genre. This is the most basic genre film I think I've seen all year. And in some ways, I think that's very good, because comparing it to The Purge, certainly a better movie. But Your Next just followed the blueprints a little too well and didn't have any kind of fun or inspiration with it. So if you have seen Your Next and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to.